Am I the jerk for rejecting my aunt's health advice and bringing up an embarrassing story? I recently attended my grandfather's 80th birthday party. I had considered not going due to feeling unwell, but since it was such a significant occasion, I decided to make an appearance, offer congratulations, and leave if needed. The birthday celebration was a large gathering with around 100 people at a hotel where the event was catered. Seating was assigned, and I was placed with my aunt and her date. My aunt noticed my lack of appetite and inquired about my well-being, prompting me to explain my health situation to her. My aunt is into alternative health practices and saw an opportunity to promote her latest trend to me. Despite my lack of interest, she persisted in suggesting that only consuming tan-colored foods could cure various ailments, including my nausea. After reluctantly listening to her spiel about the unreliability of medical science and the supposed benefits of her fad, I jokingly mentioned her past health tips that had led to unfortunate consequences. Her date, who also seemed skeptical of her advice, was curious to hear examples of her previous misguided beliefs. I recounted a memorable incident involving my aunt's misguided attempt to treat UTIs by cleaning her bladder with ginger tea using a catheter. The story of how she ended up scalding her urethra and bladder, requiring emergency room treatment with pain medication and antibiotics, is a family favorite for laughter and reminiscing. Her date found the story amusing and joined in the laughter. Upon returning home, my mom informed me that my aunt was embarrassed by what I had shared with her date and believed it was inappropriate to discuss. While I did not intend to embarrass her, as she is usually confident in her unconventional beliefs, my mom felt I should have exercised better judgment. Was I in the wrong here? You are not in the wrong here. If tan foods could cure everything from foot fungus to cancer, it would have been discovered by actual scientists by now. It's need-to-know information if someone thinks pouring scalding tea into their own bladder is a good idea. I think the date deserves to know he's with someone who thinks it's smart to insert anything into their own bladder. Am I the jerk for letting my child find out my diagnosis over social media when they wouldn't talk to me alone? This issue started a while ago when my son married Becky. Becky and my daughter do not get along. About a year ago, the family was having a BBQ, and Becky was asked to bring paper plates to avoid dishwashing. However, she brought plastic plates, so my daughter would need to wash them in order to give them back to Becky by the end of the night. The BBQ took place at her home. I believe this incident was a breaking point for my daughter, as she grabbed me and went inside to express her frustration. She had a big rant where she was not pleasant about Becky. Her main complaints were about Becky not following instructions and feeling incompetent in her eyes. I tried to calm her down and suggested we just enjoy the night, and that I would take care of the dishes. A few days later, I received a call from my son saying he will only communicate with me if Becky is present, whether it's in group chats, on the phone, or in person. He mentioned hearing that we were talking negatively about his wife, and this was his way of addressing it. He didn't give me a chance to explain, and the same goes for my daughter. Since then, we have been communicating in that manner, which has been frustrating for me as I no longer feel like I can talk to him about anything personal. This brings me to the main issue. I have been diagnosed with breast cancer. I informed each of my children individually about it. However, I am not comfortable discussing my diagnosis with his wife present, as we are not close, and I am very emotional about it. I texted him that we needed to talk alone, but he insisted that anything I have to say can be said in front of his wife. When I called him and stressed the importance of the conversation, he did not answer. My only options were to tell him with an audience or not tell him and let him find out from someone else. I chose not to tell him, and during my first appointment, my daughter made a post on Instagram wishing me luck and support. He later called me upset that he found out about my diagnosis through social media and called me a jerk for not informing him. My intention was to tell him privately, but he was not willing to listen. In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. The truth is, you asked your son for a private conversation and he said no. Now he is upset he found out this way when, if he had met up with you, he would have been told face to face. Frankly, you don't need the drama right now, especially with everything else you're dealing with. Please just focus on yourself and your health. Am I the jerk for taking my parents' joke seriously? My brother Leo is a really quiet kid. He mostly keeps to himself and doesn't even talk to the family much. We were eating dinner as a family a while ago when he suddenly asked if he could go to a concert. Our parents said sure and asked him for the details. He was extremely hesitant and clearly didn't want to tell, but our parents were insistent, and he told us it was some boy band. Everyone was a little taken aback, and Dad was like, "A boy band? Are you going with a girl?" But Leo said it was just him. Well, I was visiting yesterday, and my brother was in a really bad mood. I asked my other brother what was up, and he said Mom and Dad had been teasing him a lot about the boy band thing, and he didn't end up buying a ticket and missed the concert, which was yesterday. I felt really sad for him because he seemed to really like this group, so I ordered him a lot of merchandise. It was pretty pricey, and it'll take a while to get here because it's from abroad, but I don't regret it one bit. I told my mom about it because I was going to buy her something she asked for, but decided to use that money for my brother instead. She sort of laughed, and then told me I should just go ahead and cancel the orders because he might not be grateful, and he's a guy, what's he going to do with all that anyways? She went on to say some homophobic things about her own son. She was also being racist towards the boy band. I was extremely angry and told her that she was being very nasty. She tried to act oblivious, but I told her that no one's falling for it and that she's disappointed me deeply. She got all quiet and said she was just joking and I'm overreacting. I told her to take her joke somewhere else and hung up on her. She's been texting me since last night, sending me all kinds of apologies as well as, "It's not that serious for you to be acting this way." Maybe it isn't, but I'm hurt, so I can't imagine how Leo feels. Still, am I the asshole? In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. It's great to see someone standing up for their little brother and calling out such behavior. Only edgelords shame boys for liking things that are conventionally for girls, so good on you for not letting that slide. Parents should support their kids' interests, not shame them. Keep looking out for your little brother and putting people in their place when needed. Am I the jerk for refusing to change the name I chose for my child, so my sibling can one day use it if they have a child? I am pregnant with my first child, a daughter. My boyfriend and I have decided to name her Ren. We haven't told many people yet. My boyfriend informed his parents, and I informed my parents and my siblings. After I told my sister, she asked me if we could talk, and she showed me a list she had of names that she and her husband had chosen for future babies. Ren was the girl name they had also chosen. I had no idea. My sister never thought anyone in the family would choose a name like Ren. When she heard that we had chosen it, she felt a little sad. My sister and her husband have been trying to conceive for 6-7 years and have been unsuccessful, except for one miscarriage. Currently, they are undergoing fertility treatments to try to have a child. It has been very difficult for her, and when my boyfriend and I found out we were expecting, we agreed that I should tell my sister first and give her time to process. She told me how much she appreciated it and that she felt sad for a while, as well as very jealous. I love my sister, and I always want to be understanding and not make her feel bad because I'm having a baby while she's still trying. However, when she asked me to choose another name so she could use Ren for a future daughter, I didn't feel like I could agree to that. Ren feels right for my daughter to both me and my boyfriend. We already have items with her name on them, and we've become very attached and bonded with our Ren. I know that to many people, sharing the same name in a family is not a big deal, but our family doesn't really like doing that. While our names may have been used in previous generations of the family, we have never liked the idea of two living family members sharing a name. To my sister, using Ren means she has to remove it from their list. When I told my sister that I couldn't change my daughter's name after we had already committed so heavily and the name felt so right to us, she burst into tears but told me she understood. She hugged me, and then my brother-in-law got involved and criticized me for not sacrificing a name so that my sister could hold on to the hope of using it for their future daughter. He said she has been such a good big sister to me and that this wouldn't cost me anything. Am I the asshole? It's understandable to want to avoid hurting your sister, but it's your baby and your choice. It's okay to stand your ground on the name you and your boyfriend love. Your brother-in-law's reaction is out of line. You could forever regret not using a name that you love so much. Am I the jerk for thanking my dad's wife in my dance club newsletter instead of my parents? I, 17 years old female, started dance classes when I was 12 years old. It was my dad's wife who actually brought me to dance and helped me get where I am at now. My mom kept a secret for 12 years, and when her ex-husband told me the truth, my whole world was shattered. My dad's wife didn't try to step in as a parent. She was a friend and signed me up for dance classes. We started out going together, and I fell in love with dance. She practiced with me when dance classes were on hiatus during the pandemic. When I was with my mom, she would Zoom call me, and we'd practice like that. She's become something better than my parent, honestly. My parents kind of suck, and I don't think of dad's wife as a mom or a parent. But she's even better, honestly, because we choose each other. Now that I'm 17 years old and I'll be a senior in high school in September, I am going to be moving from my current dance club to something more serious. And with that, those who move on get the chance to write a letter in the newsletter. A sort of speech to say goodbye. So I took the time to thank my dad's wife, and my siblings actually. She's the reason I'm where I am at. But my parents were upset. Mom was pissed. My dad was disappointed I didn't even mention him at all. My dad's wife gave him a hard time for bringing me down. But my mom has been just really awful about it, and she's laying on heavy guilt trips about ignoring her. Am I the asshole? Nothing you have done here makes me think you are the jerk. It sounds like you thanked the right person, and your mom's reaction shows that. Your dad's wife has worked to be a friend and mentor to you, which is a pure act of kindness. It's great that you had someone so supportive in your life. She truly was a game changer. As for your mom, she's lucky you have anything to do with her. Am I the jerk for asking a neighborhood kid if they could read? Yesterday, I observed a neighborhood teenage boy trespassing on my property. I decided to say something to him as this is not the first time, and we have signs posted saying private property, no trespassing. There are signs posted at both ends of a temporary dirt accessway used by landscaping and construction vehicles. I observed the teen jogging up the accessway from one house away while walking my dogs. My wife got his attention by yelling from one house away, "Hey Namia, you know you're not supposed to be on there. What are you doing?" To which the boy shrugged and said he didn't know. I chimed in with, "Did you see the signs?" To which he replied, "Yes." I followed with, and can you read, right? The boy confirmed he could, and I continued with, then you should know you can't be on there. That's our yard, not public space. Please don't cut through our yard. The boy was out jogging, and with our message made clear, my wife and I didn't see the point in taking it any further. So we said goodbye, and the boy jogged off. The boy's mother was walking down the street toward us immediately after the boy jogged off. My wife explained the situation, and the mother said she didn't know the accessway wasn't public property and doubled down, saying she and her family used it all the time. Around an hour later, I got a social media message from the father asking me to call him. I called the father and he asked me what happened, so I relayed the story. The father proceeded to tell me that I was a dick to his son and I shouldn't have said anything to the boy. Instead, I should have called the father, and he would have handled it. I reiterated my points to the father that the accessway on our property is temporary for construction access only. There are signs posted, the LCHO letter, etc. How the boy admitted to seeing them and ignored them anyway. And why I said what I said as a lighthearted way to say, stay off our property. The father came back with, if you want to be a dick to a kid, then that says a lot about who you are. This went back and forth a few times. Me repeating my points and wondering why the father wanted to talk in the first place. And the father calling me a dick for saying what I did to his son. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for asking a teenage boy if he could read after ignoring posted no trespassing signs? I think you were not in the wrong here. I've encountered rowdy kids in the neighborhood too, and it's ridiculous how some parents can't handle the tiniest consequence for their child's actions. The kid was trespassing despite a sign being posted, and he's definitely old enough to know better. This nobody can say anything to my baby attitude is making things worse. Maybe consider putting up a fence or gate to make it harder for these situations to happen again. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.